Good morning. This is Miss Ellingson. Over the next 6 mornings, I'm going to go over the Science ACT to help you better prepare, to know what to expect, some tips, tricks, and then we'll do some practice together. And I will go over why the answers selected were correct. But this is just to get you more comfortable and know what to expect. And there are some big tips and tricks and practice that will really help you do well on the Science ACT. So first, an overview. The ACT science exam is 40 multiple choice, which you have 35 minutes to complete. It is very similar to the writing and reading, where you have to read a passage and then you have to look at the questions and then you have to pull out the specific parts of the passage that fit the answer. So you'll see 7 to 6 passages with authentic scientific research, data, and one conflicting viewpoint. So each passage will be written, but you'll also see in the prompt data, graphs, charts. So you'll be asked to answer set 4 to 7 multiple choice questions related to that one prompt. So you have 53 seconds per question. So having a strategy is key. And I think knowing what to expect is also key, which this is why we're doing this. So you're going to have 6 mornings in your science class where you're just going to do some mini lessons and you will do some practice together. So, first, the mindset for the Science ACT is that you're not tested on your science knowledge. The more science classes you've taken, it will definitely help you do better on the Science ACT, but it's also not a hindrance if you haven't taken as many as other people. You do need to know how to be a good scientist. So the knowledge from your biology, chemistry, physics classes is important, but that's not where you're tested on here in the Science ACT. So you are tested on the aspects of being a good scientist, including interpretation, analysis, evaluation, reasoning, and problem solving skills needed for scientific experiments. So you're going to be given, like I just said, 6 to 7 authentic scientific scenarios where you need to use those skills. So, can you answer science questions you know nothing about? So, even though you didn't take physics, um, and there's a physics related prompt, can you still answer all the questions? Well, the answer is yes, absolutely. So, that's what I'm going to help you with over these next sessions, as well as your current science teacher. One for the science test is to have a positive mindset. So most prompts will be based on scientific context you've never seen before. And it will have vocabulary that you've never seen before. So you can't let that trip you up. So I think it's best to have a positive mindset, knowing that as long as you can read a graph, read a chart, it doesn't matter if you know the terminology or not. It's just keeping a positive mindset that you can do this and don't let the terminology trip you up. So, just a quick example on the right. So, which group has the most Cogans? It doesn't matter if you know what a Cogan is or not. You should be able to look at the chart and pick out that D has the most. Over here on the left is a sample passage. You will be taking this on a computer. So when you open up your screen, you will have several passages that have the same passage on the left. You can scroll up and down on the left to read the passage. So here I cut and pasted a sample one on the left. So each graph was its own section. I just made it condense a little bit so we can see it here. So the point is right now that you don't have to read the passage. It's just to see how long the passage is. The key thing to notice is that it says passage one, there's study one, there's figure one, figure two, study two, and then there's a figure three. That is going to be important later. So, my suggestion and other suggestions is that you read the question, you find the important information in the passage, and then answer the questions. So, you do not have time to read the passage, then read the questions, and then go back. And you most likely might forget what was in the passage. So, it is much quicker to look at the question and then look for the pertinent information. So here the passage is on the left. You'll be able to scroll up and down on the passage, and the question here is on the right. So on the right, you're going to see the question, you're going to see the four multiple choice answers. So, what is important here is reading the important information and then going straight to the pertinent information, which I'll show you next. So let's look at this a little closely. So it says, according to figure one, for any submerged time after 0 days, what is the order of deicers from the deicers that produce the greatest average percentage change in cylinder length to the deicer that produce the least average percentage change in cylinder length? First of all, you don't need to know what deicers are, what you might, since we live in a cold climate. But what is key here is that you find figure one. Then we're looking for submersion time, which is on the bottom. That is on the x-axis. So we're looking at 0 to 600 days. Greatest average percentage change to least. So on the left-hand side, the y-axis is the average length of change. Then the greatest value is the highest on the graph. And we do need to match it with the key. So the best answer here is from top to bottom. Again, I don't remember these chemicals, but that's okay. Or sorry, compounds. But that's okay. As long as I can read a graph and you can read a graph, that is what is important. Notice they also have a distractor here. This one is ranked least to greatest, so make sure you read the prompt carefully. So, we went over quite a few things in a brief amount of time. So, takeaways. So, on a half sheet of paper, while it's still fresh in your mind, write down one thing you didn't need to know to answer the prompt, two things you did need to know to answer the question, and three things you'll remember to do during the exam. Next time, I'm going to take a lot more time to go through a prompt and question. That was just to give you a little sample and a brief overview of what to expect. So, we will be doing more practice and looking at the different types of questions in the next session.